morning, is it from Zetster's lab. This is my second video. The first one, I just finished the first one. That was telling you how I created this beautiful jacket. If you would like to see, I'll put the link below. But this video, it's all about what is the meaning of life. You know, this morning, I spoke to my son. My one son is living in Capetown, and he's not married yet. He doesn't have children yet, so he's living in this small one-bedroom flatlet. And as I was talking to him, and I thought, what are you going to do now? He thinks he's going to go and eat out with a friend, and so on and so on. And suddenly I felt this sadness coming over me. How can he be happy? I mean, with his life, now that door is knocking there, the wind's coming in. So how can he be happy? What's the meaning of his life? How can he be happy? How can people be happy? And I just felt really sad, because what's the meaning of life really? And you know, I was thinking about that, and I was talking to hubby about that, and the next minute I said the following. I said, you know, what gives my life meaning, I said, is my children, my grandchildren, the relationship with them. I've got my husband. We have a beautiful house. I've got my dogs, even my feral cats on the roof, and my garden, and walking at the beach with the dogs, and my crocheting, my creating beautiful things, and my art, and my blogs that I write, and my videos that I make. And I said, that is what gives my life meaning. My life is so full because of the things that give my life meaning. And as I was saying this, how full my life is, and I realize, what are those things in your life, in my life, in my son's life, that brings out the abundant life that's already in us? We all come into this realm, being life, abundant life. That's what we are. We are created in the image and likeness. We are the same as our spiritual father, our source, whatever you want to call that. Abundant life, that's all of us. We come into this realm as this abundant life. But then we enter this realm, and it's totally different. All of a sudden we forgot who we are, what we are, that we're really life, spiritual beings, abundant life. And all of a sudden we've lost the meaning of life. What is this realm, this life all about? Until we find out, and this is the good news, each one of us, different things in this realm will bring out that abundant life that's already in us. Different things. The things in my life will not bring out the life in your life. You've got different things than I have. So we got to find those things in this realm that will bring out the abundant life in us, the joy and the peace and the power and the abundance and the love, unconditional love, happiness, whatever we need, we already have in us. But that life needs to pour out of us. just my message for me this morning. What gives life meaning? It's a very personal question. Very, very personal. My life is my life. This realm, what I create in this realm, it's all about my world and manifesting the life that is in me. Yours going to be different. Your life is totally different from my life. I'm talking now about this manifestation in this realm. Even though our source, the abundant life in us, is the same. But, so each one of us, our only job in this realm actually is to find those things that allows the abundant life in us to burst forth out of us, to manifest in this realm. I cannot make you happy. Many people, I was there too. I was there. I was years back. I was in this house, in this life. And it was hard. And I wasn't happy. And I didn't know what is the use of life. And we were struggling financially. And my children were leaving the house and everything. All of a sudden I found myself in this place of, I'm not happy. What is the meaning of life? At that stage, I was very religious. So religiously, I did everything that my denomination of whatever expected of me. And still I wasn't happy. I was really, really very unhappy. Even though I did all the religious things that I believed I was supposed to do. I did all the things, cultural things I was supposed to do. I was not happy. And then, I don't know how, but I just started realizing I need to find my happiness in this moment. It's no use wanting to get out of that life. I need to find, day by day, the things that makes me happy, that brings out the joy and the peace that's already in me. So slowly and surely my mind started to change and shift. I started to appreciate the little things that was already in my life. And I started to focus on doing those things that brings out the abundant life in me. So at that stage, because as I said, we were really financially in a really dark place, I started to work in my garden. Because that I could do, it didn't cost anything. So day by day, when I felt down and out and whatever, I worked in the garden. Because that brought out the joy and peace in me. And I started looking for those things and focusing on those things. Like I could go and walk with my dogs on the beach. And I was milking, let's call it that, the joy and the peace that was manifesting through doing those things. And slowly but surely my life started to change. And the more joy I allow by doing the things that brings me joy, deep rooted joy, that brings out the joy in me, the more things that just came on my path. And slowly but surely my life started to change. I started to paint at that stage. My uncle sent me some money. And I told hubby, but you know what, I really don't want to throw this little money into the deep hole of needs. I want to do something with that money. And he said, but why don't you go for painting lessons? You always wanted to paint. And I said, you know what, I really don't want to go for lessons and learn how to paint with a small paintbrush. I want to work with my hands and blah, blah, blah. So that's when I found a friend from my past, and she started me off with these art workshops. So I started helping her with the workshops, and I started painting on the side, and every time that I couldn't go further in a painting, I would call her, or she just arrived in front of my door and helped me. So I started painting, a total new thing. I've never ever painted in my life before. That was about 2008, 12 years ago. And I started painting. And from out of that, I started crocheting. And we started to travel, even though we just traveled for short. But I started to focus on the moment and what what was happening in that moment. I started to focus on that. And the abundant life in me started to flow more and more, stronger and stronger out of me. And that became my purpose. That's the purpose of life. We create our own purpose. And the purpose is to find those things that allow the true love and peace and joy to rise up and flow out of us. You see, there's a difference. It's not I go out and party and rave and whatever you do, and I find happy for that little time and then I go back. No, it's not about finding happiness outside of you. It's finding those things that allow the pure, true love and joy and peace and happiness that's already in you to come forth. That's the only way to experience the abundant life in this realm. To find the true meaning of this life is when you allow, let's call it that, is when you allow the abundant life that's already inside of you to start flowing out of you. And only you can create that link. Let's call it a link. Only you can make that flow happens. I cannot do it for you. All I can do is just to help you to find those things that will really bring out the joy that's already in you. Unconditional love, joy, peace that surpasses anything that's already in you. That is what brings meaning to this life. Otherwise, this life has absolutely no meaning. If I'm just surviving day by day like I did years back, what's the purpose of that? Nothing. It's just pure sad. I think that is also why when we get older in years, that's when most people start to find the meaning of life. The meaning of life is not making lots of money and having much friends and going places and many homes and cars and lovers and whatever. If those things doesn't bring out the abundant life in you, then those things are absolutely no meaning. That's why people use drugs and depression pills and whatever. They just try to find meaning, or they just try to get through this life. And how sad is this? When we just try to get through this life and we miss the abundant life that we came into this realm with. We're fully equipped to come and live in this realm victoriously in and through every situation that we are going to face. I don't know what I'm going to face in the future or tomorrow, whenever. But whatever that's going to be, when I find myself in that situation, I still have the victoriously abundant life in me to help me through that situation with peace and joy. And that's what our spiritual Father, our source, our life that we are, promises us. Peace and joy in the midst of any situation. It's not saying, I will help you to get out of situations, sidestep situations, not get into tough situations. He said, whatever you need to face, whatever situation in this realm, I promise you peace and joy in the midst. Who's saying that? The life in us, this source in us, our real life. I mean, once again, that was exactly what Jesus said. I grew up in Christianity, so what I can do is I can share what he said. But I never understood what he said when I was bound in religion. It's only after I shed religion that I'm starting to understand what he was saying. He was saying the same life that's in me is in you and in everybody else. He says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And my Father and I are one. And as I am, so are you in this world. And he said, my biggest desire is that you will find out that you are one, also one with us. Part of the one Spirit of love and life and power. That was what he was trying to teach us, show us with his life manifestation in this realm as the man Jesus. My manifestation in this realm is called Izet. Yours is called by your earthly name. But when we take that outward manifestations, this body and stuff away, we're all just one part of that one spirit of unconditional love and abundant life. And I think the meaning of life, of this realm, of this manifestation, is to find those things that will bring out that life, abundant life in you. Isn't this awesome? Isn't this an awesome revelation? I mean, I just want to laugh or cry. It is so awesome. That's the meaning. And that the awesome thing about this is also those things that will bring out help the manifestation of the abundant life in me to manifest through me abundantly. Those things in this realm for me will be different than for you. So, all we need to do, how do we start, is just by starting to live in this moment. Wherever you may find yourself. If you are bound in some disease, whatever, if you are in financial difficulties, if you're in a tough relationship, whatever you may find yourself in. I found myself years back in a very, very tough situation with really financially no way out. But in that situation, I started to look for those things every single moment of every day that brings out that abundant life in me. And slowly but surely, I found more and more of those things. And I'm starting to live out of the abundant life in me instead of out of the worldly things that cannot bring you peace and joy, long-lasting peace and joy. So the message is, what's the meaning of life? The meaning of this realm that we all find ourselves in, the meaning of this life of mine, that let's call it Izette's life. What is the meaning of Izette's life? Whatever I can find in this realm that will allow the abundant life in me to start flowing and moving and pouring out of me. Because that is what will change my world and the rest. You know what Jesus also said? He said, as I am, so are you in this world. All you have to do is just find the life in you. Because that's what will bring out the meaning of this manifestation. Otherwise, there's really no meaning. To go through this realm and just try to survive day by day, just to get through this day, and at the end of your 70, 80, 90 years, you still didn't find the life in you. You still didn't find the abundant life in you, who you really are. Your root. So the meaning of this life is to find the real life in you, who you are, and to start living, experiencing the abundance, the victorious life over every situation you may find yourself in. Peace and joy in the midst. Let me stop. Have a fantastic day. Zet from Zetster's Lab. Love you lots. Hope this helps.